everyone, it's Holly. I feel like I look like Steve Jobs or something. I have to go for a training walk today, so I have like all my stuff on for that. But I am back with another video, and today I want to talk about my first cruise, which I went on in September. It was my first Disney cruise and my first cruise in general. So a little bit of background, in September of 2022, I went on my first cruise. I sailed on the Disney Wish. It was a 5-night cruise, and we stopped in Nassau and we stopped at Castaway Cay. I did not get off in Nassau, but I did get off in Castaway Cay. So I kind of have notes. We'll see how this goes. So first I want to talk about the ship in general. This was obviously my first cruise ever and my first Disney ship. I know that I have seen online a lot of like discourse about the Wish and how it's very different from other cruise ships in the Disney Cruise Line line of ships, and I can't speak to that in any way, having not been on any other ones. So I found it a perfectly easy to navigate ship. I think one of the issues is like the elevators. I will say I did think the elevators were very small. I think there's the same number of elevators on the ship as the other ships. It's just that they're all in one place instead of being split up. So yes, I did think that they were a little small, especially like the capacity limits. I'm like, these are like elevators for ants. So I don't know, but for the most part I was going between like just a few floors, so a lot of times I would just take the stairs and I didn't care. Going to my room and stuff was a little different, but I think we tried the stairs one time and I was like, I can't do this, I'm too out of shape. But in general I thought it was a beautiful ship. I liked it. A lot of like I said, I thought it was easy to navigate. Things I think were pretty much done by the time we got on the ship. I saw some videos from like the maiden voyage and media cruise and stuff where stuff wasn't like completely done. I think everything was pretty much done by the time we went on it. I can't remember what it was called now, but the like interactive game, I think our sailing was one of the first ones that it was running, but it was pretty bad for us. Like we had trouble using it. My phone was like on fire while everything was running. I liked it. We hung out by the pool, and we had to walk around a little bit to get a spot, but it wasn't that hard for us. And I don't think we ever had a problem getting food when we wanted to get food. I don't know. So the rooms, honestly, I feel like the room in a lot of ways was bigger than I thought it was going to be. So we had just a regular stateroom with a veranda. So there were 3 of us. I traveled with my dad and my stepmom. And so we each had 2 suitcases. So we had 6 suitcases in this stateroom plus the 3 of us. And all of our stuff fit in there without a lot of issues. Yes, the bathrooms were definitely on the smaller side. But we basically, like, I put all of my toiletries and stuff in the bathroom with like the toilet, and then my parents put all their toiletries and stuff in the other bathroom with the shower. And that worked out fine. The bed was comfortable. I slept on the pull down and I was very happy and comfortable on that bed. I don't mind sleeping on a twin at all. And like I said, it was comfortable. I had a couple nights where I was like a little woozy, but I was comfortable in my room for sure. The veranda was nice. Obviously there's only 2 seats out there, so for the 3 of us, all 3 of us couldn't really sit out there. I think one day I took like the ottoman out, but we didn't spend a lot of time out there anyways. But yeah, I thought the room was well done. There was a lot of storage. The 3 of us fit in there very nicely. I have no complaints. Entertainment. So here I'm mainly going to talk about like the actual shows, and then things, not the cast members in the shows or like entertainment crew or anything. So I was like 100% going to every show, no matter what. So there was a new show for the Disney Wish, which is Disney Seas the Adventure, which is led by Goofy, which I love. Goofy doesn't get enough recognition. And then a Little Mermaid show and Aladdin. And I thought they were all really good. Disney Seas the Adventure was our first show. I cried. I think I was a little emotional in general. I was definitely a little seasick. So I was a little all over the place. But I think I've mentioned this in vlogs. It just really warms my heart to see dancers performing again, because there was like a time for a while where we couldn't see people performing. And so to see people performing and to see people on a stage, like in a Broadway caliber kind of production, just really warms my heart. And it's just really sad that we didn't have that for a long time. I understand why we didn't have it, but it's still really hard for me. And so it just really makes me happy to see stuff like that. And so I really prioritized going to those. And I really enjoyed all of them. We sat like in the front row. I actually don't recommend front row seating for most stage shows. I think you miss a lot. It depends on what you're trying to get out of it. But I like sitting up there and being closer and everything. And also, if you ever see Aladdin, I definitely don't recommend sitting in the front, because they pump out fog for A Whole New World, and that stuff will just be careful. But The Little Mermaid was a little funky. I feel like Disney cannot decide what they want to do with The Little Mermaid. I've seen the Broadway version as well in a traveling show, and that is different from the movie. This is different from the movie and different from that. I think they just can't decide where they want to go with that story. I don't know, but the performers were very good. They did a great job with the story. It was still entertaining. And then we did a lot of trivia, which I thought was a ton of fun. There's definitely people who, like, I think do trivia on these ships and do it all the time. We did like the Match Your Mate, which is like the Newlywed Game. We went and saw that. We did like some other fun stuff at night. I really enjoyed that's stuff I really wanted to do, so that was stuff I prioritized. And that's all free. We did bingo one time, which was fun. I mean, I love a good game of bingo. We did not win anything. And there was often places that you could go and listen to music or just see people performing and stuff, which I think is always nice. When it comes to food, I really enjoyed the food. I was excited to kind of maybe expand my horizons, because I'm a pretty timid eater. I eat a lot of like beige foods. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. Like, I'm pretty well rounded in my fruits and vegetables area of life, but I don't eat a lot of meat. I don't eat fish. So I'm always I'm always afraid to try new things at a restaurant. But especially in like the main dining rooms, it's a little easier to try different things. I did not get one of every course at every meal. That's way too much food for me. But I frequently got a salad and an entree and a dessert. Occasionally I would get something else. And I was very happy with the food in all of our restaurant eating. Arendelle is the one I remember the least, because that was our first night and I got a little seasick that night. And I just like was not prepared for that. And I hadn't gone into that dinner prepared. And so I think I ended up, it's just a blur of a night. But I don't think I got dessert that night, and I ended up like leaving early to try and go take like a Dramamine and get Sea-Bands and stuff. I enjoyed all of our food. I loved that like it was easy to get things like salad and stuff. I feel like a lot of times in Disney World I'm like lacking on vegetables, and here I wasn't really doing that. We did the buffet a couple of times for breakfast. I thought it was a pretty standard buffet. I didn't think it was anything like amazing and groundbreaking, but it was perfectly satisfactory to me. There was a lot of options, which I appreciated. We did do room service. I think that was on our Castaway Cay day, which was nice. It was nice to just not have to like worry about going somewhere and walking around and finding somewhere to sit. I may do that again in the future. if I'm on a cruise, maybe do room service more for my breakfast. I don't know. And then I really liked the like kind of like quick service options. So I did the like, to me it's like the Chipotle kind of thing, which those are just flavors I like anyways, so I'm gonna be predisposed to liking it. But I thought that was very good. My parents did the barbecue, they loved that. And then after I think the pirate night, we did pizza because we were like all starving and that was like the only thing open. And we just kept going up and getting more pizza. Like, I don't know if we were just very hungry, but that pizza was amazing. And I was living for that pizza. So yes. And then the food at Castaway Cay, I thought it was good. Again, I think it was a lot like the buffet. I didn't think it was like the best food I ever had in my life, but I thought it was good food, especially for good food just being pumped out constantly for people. So I really appreciated that. And I actually got more ice cream than I thought I would because I'm not a huge ice cream eater. Like my stepmom, she was constantly getting ice cream. That's like her favorite thing about a cruise. But I think I got an ice cream on Castaway Cay, and I think I got ice cream like 3 or 4 other times on the ship, which is just like bonkers to me. But it was very good. I really liked it. And then Castaway, I will say Castaway was my favorite part of the trip. We had booked a stingray excursion, so you go and feed the stingrays. It's like about an hour long. You feed them and then you snorkel with them. They give you like goggles and snorkel and stuff. And we had also booked a banana boat ride, but that got canceled because of wind. I think it gets canceled a lot. And at first I wasn't really going in with this stingrays because I was wearing my glasses because I didn't want to wear my contacts in the water. And I couldn't fit the goggles over my contacts, and I was like, well, I'm not going to see anything anyways. And then towards the end, my dad was like, I think you should just take your glasses off. And he's like, underwater, like the light will kind of help, or the water will kind of act as a magnifying glass a little bit. And it did. And I am glad I did that. And I would 100% go back and do the stingray excursion again. I highly recommend it. It was just really nice to kind of see them. I didn't try to pet them that much because I don't know, like it's fine. You're allowed to. If they came near me, I would hold out my hand, but I wasn't gonna like chase after them or anything. I just don't want to like cause them any stress. But it was so nice to see them. I love stingrays. I find them very like meditative, how they like swim and float through the water and stuff. So it was just really enjoyable to see them and to be there. And then I took like a nap on Castaway, and I just hung out in the water for like an hour or two, and it was just beautiful. It was like the perfect temperature, and it was wonderful. The only thing, and I did do the water slide, that was intense. The only thing I would do next time, so we are thinking about doing a cruise next year as a family, like trying to get like more people in my extended family to go, and trying to book a double dip because Castaway is like the best. I think I will bring my own goggles, mainly to have for just general swimming because just the salt getting in my eyes was too much. And depending on the cost, I may look into prescription goggles just so I don't have to worry about seeing or not, because my vision is atrocious. So I might do that just so I can like kind of see where I'm going, because like when we went to the water slide, she told me, she was the lifeguard out at on the sand, she was like, you should take your glasses off. And I was like, and my dad was like, you'll be fine. So I took them off. But then basically like my dad had to like guide me especially in the water. It's hard because it's really easy to just like go off course. So just like make sure I'm going to the right spot. And I just don't like being like reliant on other people as my eyeballs. So yes. Because my dad always had bad vision, but he had cataract surgery last year. So now he has like good eyes again. So jealous. But yes, so that I would do different for Castaway. But just because getting the salt in my eyes was just really rough, but I loved it. So then the crew, I really liked the crew. I'm not like a people person. I don't like go out of my way to talk to people or anything like that. But there were people on the ship that I like still remember their names. There was one crew member in entertainment. So her name was Siobhan, and she worked the Sees the Adventure show and made a comment about my crying. And then she did a lot of like the trivia and stuff, and I just found her very entertaining. The whole entertainment crew staff was amazing. I put that down on my survey at the end of the cruise. I thought they were all so good. I'm sure that job is incredibly hard because you just have to be on 100% of the time. But they did a great job. Same with what I would call like another division of entertainment, being the like dance and singing crew and stuff, were also so good. They were so talented, so entertaining. Their singing, their dancing, their acting, it was just wonderful. I loved it. They were all incredibly talented, very powerful, very strong, put 100% into every single movement and thing that they did, even when they were like over here in the background during like sail away party, you know, like 100% on all the time. Great. I loved our stateroom attendant. We didn't see him a lot, but when we did, he was very friendly. He was very kind. And yes, and then our wait staff was very good, especially our head waiter. At one point I had asked her, I think it was on Pirate Night, I had asked her how rummy the rum cake was, and because I don't really like alcohol, and she said, it's very rummy. And I said, oh, okay, I won't get it then, and I'll get like this other dessert, because I was trying to decide between two. And then she brought it out to me anyways and was just like, here, just try it, like, which was very, obviously, like, you can order every dessert if you want it, it doesn't matter, but it was just very kind of her to do and to make me feel welcomed. And our other waitress, she mainly did like the drinks and stuff. She was very good. I mean, I know this is like their job and this is like what they're known for. She remembered like what we wanted. If we were people, most of us at our table drank the same thing every night, and she always remembered what that was. And then there was one gentleman at my table that would often get a cocktail, so she like would always remember that and then just be like, oh, what do you want to try tonight? So yes, they were great, and I saw them interacting with like the families and stuff around us, and they were amazing. Then just some like general thoughts. There was a lot of stress around this trip. Now, part of that was COVID related because we had to test before we went on the ship. We were one of the last cruises sailing that had to test. So there was a lot of stress around that. Also, this was my first cruise, so like I didn't know what I was doing. It was my parents' second cruise, but it was their first one post-COVID. So like we're just like constantly worried about like, did we do this right? Did we do that right? We had some issues with vaccines because my dad was in a trial, and so the Safe Passage people didn't accept his vaccine because it's not a publicly available like lot number. It was like a whole thing we were very worried about. That was a lot of stress on us, especially my dad. Fortunately, the testing people were very helpful and were able to get some proof, like some paperwork that the Safe Passage people would accept. I was surprised that like this had never come up before. Like millions of people were in different vaccine tests. I can't believe my dad was the first one to have ever gone through this, but we figured it out. We did do Disney transportation. We stayed at Disney before and after our cruise just for ease of not having to worry about like our flights or missing flights or anything. So we did take a bus from the Riviera to Port Canaveral, and then from Port Canaveral to Animal Kingdom Lodge. And that was very seamless. I believe if you get Disney transportation, you basically board earlier in an earlier group, because we boarded at like 11:15 or like 12 was like our time to be at the port. But yes, all the kids clubs, we did go tour them, are so cute. I kind of wish I was brave enough to have gone down the slide, but I wasn't. But I loved looking in there and seeing all of those things. We did go into Hyperspace Lounge on our first day. Like, it's cool, but I'm not a drinker, and none of the non-alcoholic drinks looked interesting to me. So yes, I got a manicure or a pedicure on the ship. That was my first pedicure ever, still my only pedicure ever. And it was very enjoyable. The young lady who did my pedicure was amazing, very kind, and honestly, I'd never thought about shaping my toenails before. Like I shape my fingernails, but I've never thought about filing my toenails. And I really liked what she did, so I've been trying to kind of maintain that. Also, she went shorter than I ever am brave enough to do, and it was fine. And I like stopped losing my toenails after walking in Disney World. I know it's gross, but I've lost my right big toenail, or both of my big toenails, several times. So that has really helped, and I have adapted that into my life. I had considered getting pedicures locally, but I have not pulled the trigger. But I think I might try to do a pedicure every cruise, and just for like funsies. Is it expensive? Yes, it was like $100 with tip. But I think it was worth it. It was a nice relaxing experience. I enjoyed myself. You know, treat yourself. So will I cruise again? Yes, obviously, since I said earlier in this video that we are trying to do another family cruise. So yes, I do plan on cruising again and doing Disney cruises again. I actually have a cruise planned for later this year that is not with Disney. I am sailing on Norwegian with my aunt and my uncle's girlfriend. We are doing a 10-day cruise around the UK. This will be my first trip overseas. The only country I've ever been to is Canada. So that's exciting. And then I think the farthest flight I've ever had was Puerto Rico, and I was like 9 when I did that. So I barely remember it. So I'm a little nervous about the flight, but I'm excited. And then my parents are planning several cruises next January as a retirement trip for my stepmom. And then, like I said, we're trying to plan maybe a family trip, maybe out of Miami is what we're thinking. So I think that would be fun. I have seen that Disney does some cruises out of New York City up to Canada, and I really like Canada. And I vacationed in Halifax several years ago, and I really enjoyed it. Well, Halifax, Nova Scotia in general. I would love to go back up there. I would love to do PEI too. I have considered trying to maybe do something like that, because New York City isn't necessarily like the hardest thing for me to get to. So we'll see. But yes, I do plan on cruising again. I don't think I'll cruise every year. Definitely not right now. Like, I just don't have like the money for that. But maybe every 2 to 3 years. I would love to maybe like do like a Disney cruise like every in like a 3-year time period, have like a Disney cruise and a Disneyland trip, and then like the 3rd year just have like an extra Disney World trip or something. I think that would be fun. So I don't know, we'll see. But yes, those are my thoughts from my first Disney cruise, and I enjoyed myself. I got a little seasick, but overall it was an enjoyable experience. I loved the crew on board, and I would recommend doing it again. If you think that there is a ship I should sail on and try to find next, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye!